Hi, Bria. So I'm James. I'm an account consultant here at Delante. And first of all, thank you for agreeing to meet with us and to discuss your experience with Delante and the SEO process as a whole. So I'd just like to start off by asking you a little bit about your company and your involvement. So who you are and what you do.
Well, Blufolio, we're located in Geneva. We specialize in crypto, blockchain VC, and sustainable portfolios. We've got 13 years experience with great results. I mean, we always outperform benchmark, and that's pretty much what we do. We if you will, we try to drive innovation, and we believe is that digital and blockchain technologies are going to solve basically the biggest problems that we have nowadays, which is sustainability issues. So we work really at the confluence of these domains.
Perfect. So leads me on to my next question: is the importance of SEO for your business growth. So you've introduced your business and
well, it's very important, SEO actually. Not only does it increase your visibility and traffic on the internet, but it also contributes to the authority voice in your field, and authority leads to trust, brand trust, and then eventually it'll lead as well to brand loyalty. So no, SEO is very important in marketing.
Okay, and you see that close connection between your industry and SEO, especially like you mentioned, the trust and what it does for you. So you're convinced for the kind of
I think that actually whatever you do nowadays, being we living in a global market, so now your window to the world is usually your website or any activities you have on the web, and SEO is a major point of getting yourself out there and being referenced, and no, it's very important.
Okay, so you'd say it's a big part of your marketing strategy, and was that always the case? It's kind of from the beginning, or it's something that you kind of...
Well, it's hard to say from here because Blufolio, I just started about less than a year ago, and they had not really existing. I mean, everybody, it was a small company and they were growing, and so they needed somebody that had a bit more experience. But I've been working with either internal SEO or external SEO for over 20 years now in different fields. I was in the marketing luxury field before being in the financial one. So no, so SEO is something, even in the entertainment business, when I was working in there, we also always try to make sure that our SEO is, sometimes it's very hard because you have to know what you're doing. You don't just wake up, SEO savvy one day. So SEO has always been part of, definitely a chunk of my marketing budget whenever we can.
So you're well experienced with this, so that's great. And when you were looking at like an in-house or an external specialist, what kind of made you look for the external specialist rather than doing everything in-house? Was there a reason why, or did something?
Yeah, there's actually a couple of them. The first one, number one, having an external SEO company is usually a money saver, because you don't have to employ someone to do only that, because it can be a full-time job for one person, meaning you also have all the charges, social charges that you have to pay. So that's already one thing. It could be a money saver. The other one is usually the companies that you work with are always up to date. When you outsource, usually they can handle multiple clients at once, meaning they're also seeing what other people are doing, and usually you benefit from that experience. And that leads to collective knowledge. When you work with the SEO company that works with various industries, they have usually diversified knowledge, and they set performing their service quite high, and they always try to be up to date with what's going on, technologies, and which something you might not have time to do in-house.
Okay, great. So there was no real concerns about having it managed externally rather than seeing everything internally. So you were happy enough to do it externally.
Oh, absolutely, because Delante, I mean, not only Delante did a fantastic job, even explaining us the different steps to go, everything was very meticulous, and the agenda was and scheduled was very, everything was very tight, and they made sure that every step of the way they were explaining what they were doing, why they were doing it, and what was the expected outcome, hopeful expected outcome, because you never can, SEO, you can't say you're buying something and you're going to be, for sure, you're going to get the result that you aim for. It takes time.
Yeah.
But I must say that Delante was really great, because I'm not an SEO specialist. I, hover over the marketing department, so I have different things. So I need people like Delante to help me make the right choices and explaining to me why we're doing what we're doing.
That's great. That's great. Perfect. And as we have to ask, so why Delante? So did they stand out within the process, or what was the reason?
They did. Well, one of the main reasons, like we do in finance, is you never invest in one whole fund. You want to sort of pan out what you're doing. And my whole thing with Delante is they specialize only in SEO. A lot of companies now that are in the market, usually they'll do your digital marketing or your website plus the SEO. So what was really interesting for me, because we're also rebranding. So I was redoing a part of my website, and I really wanted to have somebody that's completely focused on the SEO and somebody that's completely focused on the website. And I think that's a plus that Delante has, meaning they only do SEO.
Yeah, awesome.
So that was the main thing for us. And I mean, the contact with the people over there were great. As I said, they were always very fast to answer and happy to explain, or explain twice or three times sometimes when there was some things that were not very maybe clear for us. So no, that was one of the reasons we went with Delante.
That's great. And in terms of the cooperation kickstart, when you first met the specialists, or you first had the contact with the specialists from Delante, can you tell us a little bit about the process from the beginning, and then what was explained to you and what was set up, and if your expectations were all laid out in front of you as well?
Well, yeah, well, first, I mean, they really broke down, the different people we spoke with. Since we had, somebody that was for sales, and then we were brought on when we onboarded the project. We were allocated with a project manager and an SEO specialist. And as I said, I mean, the following the agendas and going through every step and having something very clear what's going to happen when, the different things that they needed from us, guiding us through. I mean, everything. The experience was really good. I mean, I'd highly recommend working with them.
That's great. So you didn't feel like there were too many steps. It was actually good to have different specialists contacting you and to tell you exactly what was going to happen at the time.
I think it's very useful. I mean, and then you backtrack sometimes, where you can always go back and speak to whomever, and I think that sometimes it helps to have different people for different things, and it's not one person doing everything. But I mean, we're all connected at some point, and we all speak, and everybody knows what everybody else is doing. But I think I thought it was very, it makes just things go a bit faster, I think.
Great. So with the ongoing work that you're doing at the moment, would you say that the level of communication and transparency is what you expect as a company? Does it feel like a real personalized approach rather than having like a middle company?
Absolutely. We've gone through ups and downs with different things, and Delante's always been very flexible with adapting the ongoing work to exactly, the specific needs that we had at the time. So no, I think they're really, for that, it was great to be able, because sometimes, once you're signing into a contract, you're kind of stuck with it.
Yeah.
But we've had to go back and forth on different things, and Delante always tried to find the best way to work out, and was flexible and agreed, to reorientate their efforts on something else, so no, it was a great experience, and we're still working with them, and I intend to keep on working with them.
That's great. And would you describe it as because we style ourselves on this tailor-made experience, would you agree that that is what happens within the process, that it feels very kind of bespoke and very put together just for you?
Well, SEO remains SEO, so I mean, you're going to adapt your I mean, the keywords are not going to be the same. For instance, if I take the example of keywords are not going to be the same from one company to another, to one field to another. So yes, absolutely. And I think there's a lot of research also that was done when they were writing different blogs for us, and creating backlinks and all these things. So yeah, I would definitely say it's tailor-made service.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So with the tailor-made service and with the work that you've been doing, were the expectations met so far, and you're pleased with the general?
I am very much. Our SEO rating went from basically nothing to 400 times in six months. So yeah, absolutely. The results is outstanding.
Okay, so you're pleased with what we've done together so far, which is great. So the aims are being met.
I am. Delante's doing great.
And the relationships that you have on a communicative level with the SEO specialists, would you say that that it's very kind of like made to fit in that way? So when you speak to the specialists, do you feel that they're taking notice of what you need and really kind of trying on an individual basis with yourselves on the phone? And
I would use 2 words: very professional and very friendly. Which makes the experience nice. It's almost like talking to friends, you know.
Yeah. It's nice to have that. Perfect.
Yes, indeed.
And finally, is there anything that you'd like to add about the service, or perhaps anybody that's considering SEO in the future, or somebody that's thinking about it?
I would definitely, if I hear about somebody looking for SEO, I would definitely send it for sure.
Perfect. So glowing recommendation.
Yes, I would recommend Delante.
Perfect. So that covers all of my questions for the testimonial, and we'd like to thank you very much for giving you your honest opinion on the testimonial, and of course we continue the success together. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for your time, and say hi to the Delante family for me.
Thank you very much.